So I'd like to call the meeting to order, Board of Health meeting of June 7th. And this meeting is being recorded. If there are any other persons present who are also recording, you need to notify me at this time. Okay. And then I would just like to go through who's present. Nancy Bershoff, I'm the chair of the Board of Health.
Kelly Dixon, member.
Alyssa Valbona, member.
Jennifer Hoffman, health director.
Nicole Wayback, health inspector.
So Marina.
I'm Marina Goldman. I'm here representing Green River Festival.
Okay. Michael? Can't hear you.
Hi, Michael Nelson from the Fairgrounds.
Great, thank you. Benjamin?
Hello, Benjamin Miner here.
Thank you. Mary?
Mary Chickman here.
Okay. Ginny?
Desorger here.
Okay. We have, who's Garth?
Nice. Yeah, Garth Shanefield, Greenfield.
Okay, did Nicole, did you get his last name?
Sorry, Garth Shanafeld.
What? Oh, okay, fine. I just want to make sure that you knew his last name. And there's Glenn Ayers.
Hi, Glenn Ayers, resident of Greenfield.
Okay. George. George, you're.
We can't see everybody though.
No, you have to go over here, so there's only 6.
Hi, George. George Phillips, member of the public.
Okay, and Gary Bohan.
Him?
All right.
You think so?
Okay, thank you. First order of business is to approve the minutes from May 10th.
You didn't say us names.
And May 24th. Do those one at a time. A motion to approve the minutes of May 10th, please.
Sorry, Chair. Whoever is not muted, please mute. We're getting feedback. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you. Second. Kelly, you're muted.
Thought I hit it. Sorry about that. I second that motion. I do have one typo that I'd like to correct.
Okay.
Do you want me to do the motion first or tell you where it is?
No, just tell me what it is.
Under the dog frisbees, it just says not approved till instead of until.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Thank you for
Otherwise,
keeping
the content
grammar accurate.
I'm sorry, it's a problem I have, but otherwise
okay.
The content is correct. Yeah.
Fine, thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Melissa, thank you. Okay. May 24th, same thing. Motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Yep.
Thank you, Alyssa.
I'll second that.
Second. Okay, anything on that one?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Okay, minutes approved. Okay, next item of business is the Green River Fest. We received, Marina, you're representing Green River Fest folks, I trust.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
and you received the COVID safety plan.
We did.
And the maps. And the only thing I would change to that is there was a 10 feet security perimeter in front of every stage, and now there is a 20-foot security perimeter in front of every stage.
Okay. Question for you, given the change in the governor's mask the CDC, the national and now state mask mandate, are you planning to alter your plan?
I think we're just going to go with whatever the CDC says at the time of, and that
Yeah.
will be changed in the beginning of August when we know
Okay.
more what's going to be for the end of August. When I was talking to Jennifer, we talked about you can't require, but you can strongly suggest that children ages 4 to 12 wear masks, and we can offer them masks.
Okay.
So I think we're planning on doing that no matter what it is.
Okay. Yeah, which makes sense because, yeah. Okay, I just wondered whether, so what you would like us to do is just approve the current draft, and you can move forward and you'll adjust as the CDC
Right.
makes recommendations. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the proposal for the Green River Fest?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the updated proposal for the Green River Festival.
Thank you. Second to the motion.
I have some questions first.
Well, just the procedural thing, Kelly. You can approve, you can second the motion, and then
Approve
we have
pending.
discussion. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Now
I will
discussion.
second pending discussion approval.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. I invited Mr. Nelson here from the Franklin County Fairgrounds
Mhm.
because he is having events, and prior to Governor Baker's expansion of, the freedoms, releasing everything from COVID, there was a question of a big event happening. I invited him over, but should we say that this is also for him as well? So, because the guidelines are now different?
The guidelines are different. The Green River Fest folks are choosing to keep their structure in place. That includes that's sort of consistent with the old guidelines. So I don't think that we want to do that for the other event. I think we need to keep it separate.
Okay, that's what but he was just here to listen. I kind of, because of that big event and with Governor Baker relaxing the restrictions, I was wondering if this would apply to him as well. That's because we asked for him to come, but now I'm wondering, now that the restrictions have been dropped, does he need to really be here for this
No.
meeting?
No,
Okay.
he does not.
That's
That's a
Sorry,
good
Mr.
question.
Mr. Nelson, I'm
Thank
speaking
you.
on behalf of you.
Thanks,
That was
Michael.
the easiest meeting I've ever had.
Yeah, all right. We'll try and keep it that way for you.
If you'd like, I can give a quick 30-second plan update of what the fairgrounds plans for the summer at the end of your discussion on the Green River Fest.
Sure, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kelly, what was it that you wanted to address?
So again, I know we reviewed this and it's very thorough and they've added things. I don't have any questions about that. The only thing I noticed is they really talk about 18 and over and under 12, but nothing about the group of 12 to 18-year-olds as far as masks, as far as other things. So I just was wondering what their plan was for that. And I know they mentioned the CDC, but and changing, modifying as we go along if there's anything that changes between state and the federal government. But are they going to be following the state first or just in general CDC guidelines? Because sometimes they do vary. They're not often.
Well, what we do is follow the state guidelines.
Correct. So I kind of want to make sure that they do as well. That's what
Oh,
what I'm kind of getting at. I mean, it's all well and good to say CDC, but I want to make sure that they're following the state guidelines.
yeah.
At the time of the
Yeah, I
event.
can add that to the plan, just state and CDC guidelines. I think as far as the 12 to 18-year-olds, we should just make that 18
and up and 18 and under.
12. Yeah, because now that 12-year-olds can get vaccinated, they would be
Correct.
considered like anyone else. So that was just, I didn't update that part.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think if you just say the verbiage of CDC and MDPH, meaning, the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, that will cover that.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Marina.
Yeah.
Okay. then I would like to call the motion. All those in favor? Okay, Elizabeth,
Aye.
okay, and Kelly. Okay, great. All right, so Green River Fest proposal is approved. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving on.
Did
The
we
next,
want an update from Michael? No.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael was just a moment ago.
That was like years
I
ago.
forgot
That
all
guy showed
about
up
you.
on the
What's
camera.
wrong with me today? Yeah, go ahead.
No worries at all. Yeah, just a quick update. Thank you for having me to just kind of give a real brief update about the fairgrounds. So my name is Michael Nelson. I'm the president of the fairgrounds here in Greenfield. We have a bit more active season, certainly significantly more active than last season, where it was obviously quite quiet for the most part, with the exception of a few issues we had, but those are long behind us, thankfully. We have quite a few events coming up. One of the biggest ones, of course, is the one that was just spoken about, Green River Festival at the end of August. And then we have the fair 2 weeks after that. In between and around that time, we have various other events. We have a bunch of dog shows coming up this summer, which are very exciting. They're great little events that if you ever have the opportunity to check them out, they are private events, but they do they don't advertise to the public, but the public is welcome to go up and, sit around and watch them. It's the kind of thing you see like on Thanksgiving when you're watching the dogs run around doing all their tricks and stuff. It's very cool. So those are very exciting shows. We do have the Freedom Festival coming up, which is a music concert in the middle of July. We have a variety of agricultural shows. Most of the shows are pretty private, like the agricultural shows, the goat shows. We have a band show. They're all pretty private events. Green River Fest, the fair, the Freedom Festival, and Relay for Life are really the most public events during the summer that we have. And then, like I say, the others are more private events, and sometimes the public's welcome in some capacities. But with COVID hopefully behind us, we're very excited and optimistic for a more normal year. Like many other people, we're still being a bit cautious and not getting too excited. So we're still doing enhanced bathroom cleaning, hand sanitizer where applicable, not enforcing social distancing, but certainly encouraging it. And same thing with masks. Masks aren't required on the fairgrounds, but we certainly encourage people who feel they want to wear them and want to exercise that option. Of course, they're very much welcome to do so. So we're a bit more lenient, but also being a little more cautious, or still remaining cautious as we move forward into this next phase of post-pandemic world. So excited to see what the world brings, and hopefully we'll continue going in this right direction.
Well, thank you very much for your enthusiastic presentation of what's going on at the fairgrounds. I took my kids there when they were little, and we just over the years had a lot of fun doing a variety of things there. And I'm looking forward to the Green River Fest, of course.
Yes, we are too. It's going to be a really great way to spend the weekend at the fairgrounds. Very excited about it. It's certainly one of the talks of the town.
Yeah, it is. It is every year. So thank you very much. I wish you good luck with your season.
Great. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you, everyone else.
Thank you, Michael.
I got something to say.
Thank you too.
Yes, please.
Did you guys raise enough money for the washout that you had?
We have not. We're about 90,000 short still. It's a $250,000 project. We were able to get a $100,000 grant from the USDA. And then we have gotten about $60,000 in cash donations from the general public, including $30,000 from the local banks.
Yeah, I saw that on paper,
yeah. Yeah, very exciting. So still got quite a ways to go.
Okay.
We're optimistic and hopeful.
When do you think you'll start you obviously got to wait till you get the money to start it, right? So
we actually need to move forward with the grant funding, very much like the library grant, where it's on a very certain time frame. We kind of have to move forward with it in order to keep it. So we are moving forward with it, especially because we're very nervous. It's been 4 or 5 years now since it started being a problem. And every time the snow melts and rethaws, and then it's 70 degrees on Christmas, and then it snows. The constant change of the weather throughout the season just really messes things up over there. So we're very eager to get it done. In fact, we're looking to get it started the first week of July. So hopefully all will go well, and we'll be done by the end of summer.
All right. All right.
Yep. But we'll certainly continue fundraising, trying to get that paid for.
And who do you contact if you want to donate? Contact you?
Yeah, myself, or on the fair website, there's information about making donations. There's our email and a donation address for it.
Gary Seeds be involved in that?
Gary Seeds is our second vice president. Yep.
Okay, so I could call him. Okay.
Yep. Gary could help you out too. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a great night.
I think Jim and Denise, I don't think I had you introduce yourselves in the beginning. I apologize. So if you would please do so now, I'd appreciate that.
I'm Jim. That's Denise.
Denise Elwell.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's a good segue here because Jim's Tree Service is number 5 on the list. And the reason that it is on the Board of Health agenda for today is because we've had several emails from citizens who are concerned about the noise level and some other operative functions at your business. And I very much appreciate you being willing to come and let us examine more closely what's been going on, what the complaints are, what the law says, what the regulations are, what the planning board has had to say, and so on. And for a sort of a presentation for where we're at right now, I'd like to ask Jennifer Hoffman to take charge here.
Thank you, Chair. So first, I want to thank everyone for coming here today, and I know how important it is for every single person in this meeting today. And everyone's here for different reasons, but I'm going to just present the facts that are present and what I observed as well. So I have tons of letters here. Some the board has, some doesn't because it came in late. One of the things that came up from somebody in a letter was discussing the definition of a contractor's yard. And on March 13th, 2008, there was an appeal made by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to the town of Greenfield, to Mr. James Elwell at his old address of 113 Norwood Street. And that's key, not his current address. But the motion was, it was moved to grant the applicant's appeal of the enforcement order by the Inspector of Buildings requiring a special permit for a, quote, use not elsewhere classified, quote, and state that the use should be considered a contractor's yard with light industrial use with all due respect to the building inspector. So that was on March 13th, 2008 for 113 Norwood Street. On March 18th, there was another note, again, 113 Norwood Street, stating that his service is a contractor's yard with light industrial use. And that was from the Department of Planning and Development. So I just wanted that to be out there. I think I had another thing in here. Hold on, I have a lot of notes. And there's a lot of correspondence in that packet. But I'm going to move ahead to May 28th of 2013, where the Greenfield Board of Health had a regulation of environmental impact. And in this regulation, it was very vague. There was no set, firm thing of what the noise would be. We all read it. And Chair, I think you had a comment about this regulation.
Yes. Yeah, It's very difficult to understand what the thrust is, but it's certainly it is vague. It's unclear what this regulation says, and I think it because it impacts both this situation and potentially others in the future. I think what I would like to do is revisit it, is to go over that regulation again and see if it needs to be updated.
And just so you know, the Mass General Law it cited was Chapter 111, Sections 31 and 143. And to whoever's recording, can we please move to have this at our next board meeting to review?
Thank you, Nicole.
The next thing is on December 15th, 2016, the Jim's Tree Service was now at 275 Wells Street. And there was a site plan approval by the planning board about his business, and he's in a zone for industrial business. On this site plan, it states very clearly, business days of operation shall be Monday through Friday, and the chipping, splitting operations shall be to no more than 1.5 hours per day between the hours of 1 to 4, not including Saturdays or Sundays. That brings me to, we have had at least the past 5-6 months, multiple complaints. Commissioner Snow and myself, every time we had a complaint, by the time we would get there, it would be gone and we weren't able to see it. And the reason why that's important is when the previous director, Bird, was here, the state told her that you can't acknowledge a complaint if we don't see it with ourselves, with our own eyes. So that's all fine and good, but I decided that I wanted to call another meeting with the state under my direction, and we had a meeting with Mr. Sadi Motamedi on May 13th, 2021. It was at 12:30 in the afternoon. He is the Chief of Compliance and Enforcement from the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection and the Bureau of Air and Waste. If anyone wants his information, I will put it in the chat to share. At that time, we discussed what he had on file for the site plan, and he said he was asking if Mr. Elwell was operating the chipper and splitter as well as operating on the dates and times that were provided, and we said yes, based on what we knew. He very much emphasized that normal gardening equipment like a chainsaw or stuff like that is allowed, and it's not included in this site plan. And it's allowed under the state as long as it's under a certain amount of time. However, I felt that that's still not fair because we still had a lot of complaints from residents in the area. I asked if there was a way I could measure sound, and Mr. Motamedi stated that he's going to send me a sound measuring device where I can spend a day or 2 or 7 measuring sound at one of the complainant's address to see where it is. Now, we've had many people sending us measurements of the sound. Again, it would not be acceptable in court because we weren't there to witness it. And even if you have that, we don't know the device that was used, regardless. So the state is sending us a state-sanctioned device where we can measure it at the sites where the complaints are. Lastly, I had the pleasure to speak to Mr. Elwell last week. I was in front of my chair when we were discussing how are we going to do this meeting. And I said, we need to invite Mr. Elwell himself. I called him and he was very easy to speak with. And we decided to meet on Friday, which I forgot the date, what date that was. I think it was the 4th. And we met at 8:45 in the morning at his business. At that time, he showed me all around his business and he turned on all these different devices and we went through where everyone is in space. I asked Mr. Elwell if he would be willing to have me come to his site when he was running operations. He gave no problem whatsoever. He said, absolutely. He called me up himself at about 10 after 1 on June 4th saying, I am going to be running the chipper now. I am also, and there's also people, I think it was Chapman Street, cutting down limbs. He demonstrated to me on the chipper and splitter, there was, I don't even know how many logs of wood there were, maybe 10. And in less than 5 minutes, there was only 2 logs left. It was loud, granted, I was literally right in front of it. Other people that were there are over 800 feet away, but that doesn't mean there's not sound bouncing off somewhere, so on and so forth. But if it wasn't where it was loud enough where I would have to raise my voice to speak to someone to hear me, but it wasn't where I wouldn't be able to hear someone if they were raising their voice to speak to me. But on the other note, when we were talking, when the machinery was off and we heard the person his company cutting down limbs off property at a site, it wasn't constant sound. They would shut it off when they weren't using it. And it sounded like a lawnmower from where I was standing, which at that site, it would have been like triangular where one of the complainant's houses were. So from where I was to where the person was cutting leaves to where one of the complainants would be. So we then looked at where everybody lives on a map. And I gave this to the board. And anyone that sent a note, we looked to see where everyone. And there were 2 people that were in close range of concern. One of them is not here. One is. But there were 2 people that lived too far away to say, based on where it is, if the sound would be upsetting to them on a certain level. Because it would have been really far. It wouldn't have been 80 decibels at that distance, such as Davis Street or Abbott Street. At the site across the street, it could be 80 decibels, however, or higher, but not at the other sites where some people were citing that it was really, really upsetting them. So on that note, as I was investigating, I just want everyone to keep in mind, I'm not siding with anyone. I'm just presenting the facts that we had and what I observed. And I'm blind to both. And I'm going to bring this back now to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So one thing that I just want to say before I open this up for questions from board members is our job as the Board of Health is to consider the issue of sound level, because that's the thing that that we need to be concerned about with neighbors. And given that you know, above 80 decibels for a continuous period of time has been shown to be damaging to hearing, and I just want to say that the level, just for those of you who may not know, 80 decibels would be the level you would hear in heavy traffic, a window air conditioner, and a power lawnmower. Those are the 3 things that I pulled off a list so that you can just have some idea of what we're talking about. So between 80 and 90, that's what those things are. And so listening to any of those things for an extended period.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I don't know if I said it. That's why I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Eric Twarg, who is in charge of zoning, and Mark Snow, who's the Commissioner of Buildings, both emphasized, they're not here, of course, at this meeting, but they wanted me to make sure that everyone here knew that the zone that the people, that Mr. Elwell's business is in an industrial business zone. So his business, according to the city, could be in this zone to do operations according to what he's doing. Just wanted to throw that out there to the board. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. So it's really a noise level that is the main thing that that's the thing that we need to consider today. And then And of course, we've received letters of complaints, and we will probably, and there will be time at the end, just so that you all know, for public comments. We will limit those comments to 2 or 3 minutes per person. Okay, so board members, do you have questions at this time?
I have a question, and I didn't even think about it till just now. Otherwise, I would have looked it up. Does anybody know what decibel the train that runs through that neighborhood goes up to? 'Cause that's also a very loud instrument,
Mhm.
or if you will, or vehicle. I'm just curious.
I have no idea.
Compared to like a lawnmower. I know it doesn't go through very fast, but I'm just curious if anyone knows what level that.
Don't.
Ellie, I could look that information up for you. I don't know if I'd be able to get it by the end of this meeting and focus on this meeting, but if you want me to look it up, I can get that for you.
I'm just curious for comparison's sake. The other question I had, Jen, for you is, I know, thank you so much for all of your work you've done on it. Where are we at with getting the device and being able to do some real-time statistical analysis of the sounds and things? And is that something that you will be doing, or is there somebody from the state or somebody independent to the situation that will be
Thank
evaluating
you.
it?
Thank you, Garth. Thank you, Kelly. I am going to be getting sent the device by Mr. Motomidi. He said that I can operate the device as an agent of the state, and I would be reporting the data back to him, to us, to him. And if there's any question, if they needed me to repeat the information, they would. But right now it would be a day. Excuse me. As of the 13th, they've ordered 100 devices. I was going to follow up with him before the end of the week to see where we are. But it is on my radar. I think you guys could tell. So I will follow up with him to see where the devices are.
Where did I go? Oh, geez. What happened to me?
What's happening?
I lost my video. I lost my.
We could
It's
see
still
you.
there. Mm.
All right, well, I'm just going to join again. And maybe you'll see me twice. I don't know what I did.
Are you on a Mac or a desktop?
I'm on a Mac.
Can you press the little button that has like 3 different size squares to show all the windows on the keyboard?
On the keyboard.
It's like 1, 2, 3. It's like
There's a
3
lot
on
up here.
the escape button.
I don't want to hit anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
Show you all the windows.
No, I'm not. I can't go there.
Okay.
I've got 2. All right. Well, you can all hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. Let's just go with the fact that you can hear me, and I'll figure that out. Home support. No, I don't know what I did, but I'm not going to worry about it. Let's continue with the meeting. Okay, so Alyssa, did you have any questions?
I don't think I mean, I guess my only question is between zoning and our board, sort of what, if something is zoned, what is our jurisdiction's not quite the right word, but you understand what I'm getting at.
Right.
Our role.
Well,
Right.
when I spoke to Sadi about that was my concern as well, because if he's in an industrial zone, what does the health department have to say if he's making certain noises accordingly? And basically, Sadi, Mr. Motomidi said, if it's over if it's over a certain amount of time outside the zone that he's supposed to do it, over an hour and a half, then it's considered noise pollution. So I don't think that Mr. Elwell has enough wood to constantly chop for an hour and a half, based on what I saw there. But I mean, if he did, great business for him. But I didn't see that, and it goes very quickly.
Yeah. I guess my question then is like, is the issue the timing of it and like the weekdays hour and a half from 1 to 4 p.m. like, is that an agreement that needs to sort of be hammered out again or like revisited in some way? I don't even, is that possible?
I think this was handled like legally with lawyers and so on
Yeah.
and so forth with the city at this new address.
Yeah, it just, I mean, it seems like we're at, it feels like we're at a bit of an impasse in terms of, you know, obviously no one's happy with the situation on either side, but I guess I'm wondering where we
Well,
can come to.
Yeah, well, you know, the Board of Health, we have, our job is protecting the health of the public. And the zoning, you know, once we've determined that whether there, you know, there is if there's a violation of say the decibel level, that's about as far as we can go. If there's not a violation of the decibel level, then the issue with the zoning is a separate thing. That would be
Right.
yeah.
But for a prolonged period of time, and that's the key. It can't just be 2 minutes at above 80 decibels, at 90 decibels, and say, up, that's it, it's a violation. It has to be for a sustained amount of time, according to the state.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think at this point that answers all of my questions.
We are, what I would like to have the Board of Health do going forward is to proceed with the state's apparatus to ascertain what the decibel level is at the places where we've had complaints. So we have on the map, you see we have, I think that the person that was the closest to who we received a complaint from lives on Alden Street. And that's just around the corner from Jim's Tree Service. She's the closest. Her name is Eileen Ruby. And she did submit a letter to us. So, of course, we would like to understand the decibel level at her property. And then Ben Miner, who lives on Chapman Street, who lives across the railroad tracks from Jim's Tree Service. So, and Mary Chickman, who's with us today, Ben and Mary are with us today, and Mary's quite a bit further away. So we are interested in whether there's a violation of the the sound level, especially for the resident on Alden Street. But going forward, I would like to see us proceed with getting the sound levels ascertained with the apparatus that were being sent, and then to get back, then we will reconvene as a board and take a look at what that information says to us. So that's what I have in mind. Anything else from our board members at this point? Any other questions or concerns?
I think for me, I wouldn't mind just hearing from, opening it up to, I agree with you, Nancy, on all accounts. I think we just need to do a better, or do a more thorough evaluation and have some data in front of us. But I would definitely like to hear from the community that is around that area, because obviously, I mean, I live kind of close by, but not close enough where this does affect me and impact me. And of course, we are a board of health, so health is important. So if they're willing, I'd like to hear. I mean, I've read some of the letters we've received, but I'd like to hear from them directly a little bit too, if they're willing.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Could we request, since it's later, or could I request that everyone has a 2 to 3 minute, or you could decide, Chair, how you would prefer.
Yes, that's what I
speak.
said in the beginning, 2 to 3 minutes, and I will more or less keep track of the time, and then ask for people to conclude their remarks if they're going too long. So, I am interested in hearing from Ben Miner. Eileen Ruby's not here, but Ben Miner, if you would like to make some comments, I would appreciate hearing from you.
Sure. First and foremost, I'm not really sure why we haven't heard anything about the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection Noise Control Regulation 310 CMR 7.10, which states in subsection 4 that it is subject to enforcement provisions, that the DEP has established a noise level policy for implementing this regulation. The policy specifies that the ambient sound level measured at the property line of the facility or the nearest inhabiting buildings shall not be increased by more than 10 decibels weighted for the A scale, dBA, due to the sound from the facility during its operating hours. I'll repeat that. The policy specifies that the ambient sound level measured at the property line of the facility or at the nearest inhabited buildings shall not be increased by more than 10 decibels weighted for the A scale. You have many, many samples that I've recorded from my property that have shown the difference between ambient sound and machinery running to range between plus 16 to around plus 30 decibels. So this has nothing, I don't know what the number 80 decibels has to do with anything. This is a law that is a state law that supersedes local zoning. And I haven't heard anybody say a word about it. There's nothing in this law about the duration of sound. It's simply, are you making a noise that increases the ambient volume in the neighborhood by plus 10 or greater? So that's the main thing that I have not heard. Now, you've seen multiple instances of numbers that exceed that by a significant amount. Whether my phone with its little app, which I shouldn't have had to be out there doing in the first place, because somebody should have been doing this years ago. Whether my phone is completely accurate or not, I think those numbers should be compelling to anybody because it's not going to be off by that much. They're not even close to being in compliance. Now, knowing that, do you agree that these numbers actually command some measure of enforcement? If so, what time frame would that be in? And if Jim can't comply with that enforcement, what does our next step look like?
That's great. Thank you for your comments. And I don't know that, I mean, what you were, if you would please forward us the document about the ambient sounds being greater than 10 or greater at the property line, that document, that's something that we need to review and I need to understand as your chair of the Board of Health, how that impacts on what my understanding is the regulations say. So please, if you would be so kind as to send that document to our health director, I'd appreciate it.
Certainly.
May I comment? So, Mr. Miner, I really appreciate your comments and I really appreciate you giving me that code. That is an environmental protection code, and every type of regulatory agency has basically their own codes sets. There's one for buildings, there's one for zoning, there's one for health, there's one for environmental protection. I am not saying that that's not what we follow. We do. That's why we went to the Department of Environmental Protection and I spoke to one of the people that are high up in noise pollution, and that's what he gave us as a number for sustained noise pollution. So when you said you don't know why, I spoke to someone directly that represents the DEP. Secondly, I apologize that no one has done this earlier, but however, there was a previous director here named Jasmine who did indeed take measurements of the property, and I think it was about 8 years ago. So for some reason, been looking for that chart. I don't know what it is. Nicole and I have been looking for it, but Mark Snow, the Commissioner of Buildings, said that he remembers that Jasmine did indeed take measurements at that property line prior. So, but thank you.
Okay, and I too would like to thank you for being willing to explain your concerns to our board and to our other guests tonight. Thank you. Do we have other folks who would like to speak?
Sir.
No, somebody else.
Mr. Ayers?
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Who is this, please? Since I can't, I don't have.
This is City Councilman Mayo.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Mayo.
I just wanted to confirm that I have also reached or have had a number of complaints about this issue. And this travels, and I represent precinct 8, and the property is in precinct 9, I believe. So the precinct 9 city councilor has spoken to me as well about hearing the complaints or hearing the noise as well, and just wanted to I'm not sure if she's talked to you or at all as a city councilor, but I can confirm that I have received letters and people off the street have stopped me and asked me if there was something I could do about the noise. Particularly as I've been listening here today is I think we're talking about the times that the noise is being taken place. Maybe not the levels, but the time of day. I could be wrong, but it seems to me like the complaints that have come to me have been most particularly the times of day that this happens and the days itself. Maybe the weekend or something before 1 o'clock or something of that nature. But and I do live on Wells Street myself. I can't hear. I live more towards the Mill Street apartments, so I can't hear that noise. But I certainly can attest that the railroad is noisy because it shakes things off my wall. So we'll just leave it at that. But I just wanted to tell you that I myself have had complaints. Wanted to pass that along. Also wanted to pass along that Councilor 9 has had that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mayo. I appreciate your being willing to spend time today coming to our meeting and offering your perspective and thoughts.
Thank you.
On behalf of your constituents. Thank you. Okay.
I would like to speak.
And you are, just say your name since I can't, my audio's gone. I mean, my video's gone. Who's this?
This is Eileen Stahl. I am also an abutter to the Jim's Tree Service property.
Okay. Where do you live, Eileen?
On Chapman Street.
Okay.
Directly behind Jim's property.
Okay.
And I just want to clarify that this is not comparable. This is not comparable to being inconvenienced by the sound of a train going through for 3 minutes at a time. And there's a lot of discussion about whether or not the noise from the tree service is a sustained sound and what times of day it happens and how much has been to process a tree through a splitter or a chipper. There are afternoons when this sound is continuous for 40 minutes at a time, for half an hour at a time, on and off for an hour and a half at a time. It's quite variable. But for most of the season we've just had before the summer, there's been a pile of trees at the property of the tree service, enormous trees that, you know, are as high as the ceiling of the roof line of the business or higher. And it really doesn't matter that this only happens between 1 and 4 p.m. in terms of the health effects of this level of noise. This isn't a passing lawnmower, and it's not a train, and it's not a neighbor doing a project on their garage. This is a permanent wood waste processing operation where wood is being processed with heavy machinery that must be outdoors because of its size. And it would be misleading to characterize this business as just a place where trucks are stored and dispatched from. And I am asking the Board of Health to adhere to and to enforce the decibel level regulations as they are required by the state DEP, because that supersedes any local zoning.
Okay. Thank you very much for your comments, Eileen, and your request for us to abide by the state regulations. That's our intention as well. Are there other comments?
I'd like to speak. This is Councilor Desorger. I'm the city councilor for Precinct 3.
Thank you.
I just want to confirm that I previously was a member of the planning board and am now a member of city council. And even while I was serving on the planning board, we had complaints, noise complaints about this business. And as a city councilor, I've had more complaints about this issue than anything else. And I just wanted to attest to the fact that it seems to be affecting the quality of life of the people who live nearby. And that I personally have witnessed it happening outside of hours, including on the weekends. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Desorger. I appreciate your comments and thoughts and representing your constituents at this meeting tonight. Thank you.
I just have a question or a statement.
Yes. Yes.
One of the things I want everyone to remember in this board meeting is we're nice to each other. We're not attacking each other. We're talking about the complaint at hand. I don't want anyone to feel they're defensive. Just remember, this is his business. And, you know, and just like you don't want certain complaints, it could make someone feel attacked. So I just want everyone to be mindful of their comments. Okay, he knows he has a noisy business. Be mindful of just how we say it. Thank you.
Go for it.
Nancy,
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. Do we have additional?
Yes, Glen Ayers would like to make a comment.
I was just about to say that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm wondering if this facility has been subject to a site assignment as a noisome trade. Is there a site assignment on record for this business?
As far as I know, no. Mark Snow, I asked him that and he said not that he knows of, and I asked Eric Twarg and I didn't find one. So I want to say no, but that doesn't mean, you know, it's not there.
So neither of them would have anything to do. This is Board of Health Regulations, Chapter 111, Section 143, the Noisome Trade Law. And so I think that this is for any kind of nuisance that may be harmful to the inhabitants of the town. And the law requires, the state law, it requires that any such business shall have a site assignment conducted before it can legally operate. So no site assignment, you say no site assignment has been done for this business. And also,
as far as I know, no. I could get back to you about that.
okay, and also under Mass General Law, chapter 111, which are the public health regulations, section 122, it gives the Board of Health the ability to examine all nuisances in the town. And this certainly, from all the complaints that you have received, is certainly a nuisance operation within the town. There can be no question about it being a nuisance. So you have the ability to do this, and you referenced your own regulations that were passed in 2013, which are the regulations of environmental impact. And that regulation specifically cites Chapter 111, Section 143.
Absolutely. I think that the board, though, early on when we went over it, said they wanted to look into it further because it was kind of vague. I agree with what you're saying, but I think we're going to be going into that further, just so it's more specific. It's very broad and it's not specific.
Well, the laws are very broad and not very specific. And some of them were written many years ago. And they're still laws that can be enforced.
Absolutely. But I think we're going to just be reviewing that one again, and just so you're aware.
Sure. I would like to just say, and I don't want to be accused of attacking anyone, but this is clearly a business that does not belong in the location where it is. It's the wrong noisome trade for that location. It's a residential area.
Where do you suggest it should be? Where do you suggest it should be?
I'm making a comment.
No,
I'm not debating anyone.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm expressing my opinion. I am not debating.
I'm just asking because
a business that makes so much noise that it degrades people's quality of life, that it violates basically the tenet of quiet enjoyment, peaceful enjoyment of your property, would drive people to move, to sell their house, to move away. That's a business that is not appropriate for that neighborhood. And industrial
when
property,
they sell their house, somebody's buying their house, so somebody's moving in too.
And industrial property can be compatible, and there are certain requirements for how it can be compatible. But in this case, I'm telling you, I live a half mile away and I can hear the noise that the business generates. I can't imagine what it's like to live next door to it or even in that neighborhood. It's just, to me, it's unbelievable. So that's what I'm saying. There are existing laws that need to be enforced. It doesn't have anything to do with zoning. It doesn't have anything to do with Eric or the building inspector. This is a public health matter. This is a quality of life matter.
I appreciate your comments, and I need to ask that we move on because we need to end our meeting shortly. And I appreciate your comments, and enforcing existing regulations is what we intend to do, and we're going to look into it as we move forward, as we'd indicated by previous comments. Thank you very much for your comments tonight.
This is Mary Chickman. I wanted to also make a comment.
Okay, Mary, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. There's a meeting like right at 6 o'clock.
Okay, so you're leaving us, Alyssa?
I have a quick question then. If I feel that if it's right at 6, if we could give Mr. Elwell a chance to speak, because he should have a right to speak then, because he has not had a chance. So before we end this meeting, I think that would be fair. If he wants to speak.
This is Mary Chickman, and I would like to read one sentence, please.
Okay, go ahead. This
is from the Greenfield zoning bylaws, and under general industry district, which is where this business is located, the purpose of the general industry district is to provide areas for light industry and manufacturing which do not intrude on residential areas, period. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Noted. I appreciate the sentence.
I got,
Yes,
okay to speak?
yes. Is this Jim?
Yeah, so a lot of these reports, I mean, anytime anybody in the neighborhood makes noise, I get blamed for it. The neighbor across the street was cutting up 4 cord of wood over the last week. I got blamed for that. He did that any hour he wanted to, is at his own house. I get blamed. A lot of these people that are making complaints, they're complaining about the stuff that we're allowed to run some things, and other things we're not allowed to run, only between the hours of 1 and 4. So they don't even know one piece of equipment from another. They don't know a chipper from a splitter. So a lot of times they complain about something and it's not even us. I mean, I've had people call me personally and I say, we're not even working today. So, I mean, the neighbors across the street are very loud. You know, if the town was taking a tree down on Alden Street, we get blamed for it. So until there are credible reports, then I don't, I mean, that's not right for me to get all the blame when it's not always going on like that.
I can see those in my house, and I resent being called an incredible witness, just for the record. I can see what's going on, and I don't call James.
And you were also the guy that was flipping me off the other day and swearing at my guys. Now, that's not the way to handle it either, so.
Not sure what you're talking about, other than that I was taking.
Yeah, I think so. I think you do, but.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, I've been compliant with the town. I do the hours. I mean, if they go by the shop and they see a truck pulling out at 12:30, then they think that I'm not abiding by the laws. There's other businesses that operate out of my building. So when they're talking about a truck running or a car running, it could be somebody else. There's a cab company that runs out of there. There's people across the street. There's businesses down the street. I mean, my question also to the Board of Health is, if you're going to take readings on me, are you going to do that to every business in town? That's over the limit. Because obviously there's a lot of businesses that are also, you know, loud businesses. So, I mean, if you're going to pick on me, you know, and do that, are you going to go around and do it to everybody else? So, you know what I'm saying?
Thank
I
you.
don't mean to be rude, but the mayor's assistant just came in and asked how much longer we're going to be.
I think we're good to go here. We've heard from we've heard from the constituents. We've heard from Mr. Elwell. There's no decision to be made tonight, except we know going forward what the Board of Health needs to do, and we will probably be bringing up this issue again at the next board meeting. So I would.
Are there for general?
Pardon?
Is there? I thought we just moved the comments just about Jim's tree service up. I didn't know if there was other comments available.
We're done. We're done with public comments. We need to adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
We have another meeting.
I'll try to send in a lot more emails then.
Okay, that's fine. That'd be great if you would go ahead.
Is a serious issue.
Yeah, I would encourage you to send an email to the Board of Health. Thank you.
I have done that, not yet. We'll send more. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
don't know. That was.
I need a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Alyssa. Second. Kelly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.